Dr. the last time we spoke, things had not shaped up. The politics of the country was not as heated as right now. So I'll begin from where my colleague Brenda said I left it this evening. Is there now a clear path for Raila Odinga to climb the mountain?
The path is muddy and not clear at all. In fact, if anything, Uhuru has made it completely impossible for Raila ever to become president of Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Is that because he has endorsed him or because of other reasons?
Number one, an endorsement by the most unpopular president of Kenya since independence is not a good thing for anyone running for president. Because today, if Uhuru were to run for MP's position, say, for example, in Gatundu South, or even in Kiambaa, he will be defeated by Wanjiku. Any dog running for elections in Kenya today who defeat Uhuru Kenyatta is extremely unpopular. And if Raila was not president in 2017, even though I believe he won, with the support of Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Wetangula, and everybody else, including Modama, Kalwale, everybody else who has left him. How is he going to be president because Uhuru has supported him when the entire so-called former central province, which is predominantly the so-called Mount Kenya region, are behind Ruto more than 90% to a person?
Okay.
How is Raila going to be president of Kenya? Okay. Raila is only left with Nyanza, Luo Nyanza. Coast is largely gone. Western is largely gone. Eastern is gone, even if Kalonzo were to support him. Nairobi is divided. He may get 40% from Nairobi. So how is he going to be president?
Okay, good question to me, but I'll ask you, in 2017, you are among the top people who ran Raila's campaign back in 2017. But even then, Dr.
I didn't.
Yes.
No, you are wrong. 2017, I was an independent gubernatorial candidate against Raila's candidate, which was Evans Kidero. I did not run Raila's campaign in 2017.
But you were involved with his eventual swearing in, MIGUNA.
That has nothing to do with the election. The election happened in August 2017, which I participated in as an independent candidate against Raila's candidate. And I only became part of the movement to resist Uhuru Kenyatta's rigging of that election after it had been nullified by the Supreme Court.
All right. Good enough. Take me back to the numbers of Raila Odinga in 2017, for example, because you said although you believe he won that election, even then, MIGUNA, there are a lot of people who supported Raila constantly from the constitutional days who had left him. I mean, even that time, there were a lot of people who had left, but you say he won 2017.
You see, a lot of people forget that Raila only won elections when he was running against the status quo, the government in place, the government that symbolized, embodied the system that we inherited from the so-called independence up to the time that he ran for election 2017. He was seen as an outsider coming in to transform the system and make it better for the people. That is not the Raila Odinga of 2022.
Okay.
The Raila Odinga of 2022 is a system candidate, is a project of billionaires, a project of State House, which the people hate, which the people do not support, which the people have resisted since independence. So the Raila you have now is not a transformative candidate, is not an opposition candidate, is not a candidate for change, is a candidate to reinforce and fortify the status quo, which the majority of people of Kenya oppose and resist. So you cannot compare the Raila Odinga that won the election in 2007 and the Raila Odinga who won election in 2017 with this Raila Odinga. This thing running for election in 2022 is a project, it's a puppet. People hate puppets all over the world, and that is why he's going to lose.
Okay. The people have left Daktari. The people, I mean, not the people, the leaders have left Raila Odinga. The likes of ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and the rest of them, as you mentioned. But from where you sit, because Raila has had a constant support from the Nyanza region, he's had a constant support from Western region, but he's never had any kind of support from the Central region. The leaders have left. Do you think the people have also left Raila Odinga?
Okay, so let's talk tribe, because that's where you are going, even though my politics has nothing to do with that. So let's talk tribe. In 2002, the people of Central Kenya supported Raila Odinga. In fact, Raila Odinga was the dominant factor in 2002 in that election. They were not supporting Mwai Kibaki. They were supporting Raila Odinga because Raila Odinga broke the back of KANU. Raila Odinga led the group, the so-called NAC, the Rainbow Alliance, that left KANU and came together with Kibaki to defeat the Moi project that was Uhuru Kenyatta. That Raila Odinga was a symbol of resistance. That was the Raila Odinga that led the group that defeated Kibaki during the referendum in 2005, and then eventually won the election in 2007. So it was not about leaders leaving or supporting Raila. It was, what is it that Raila symbolized? He symbolized resistance. He symbolized opposition to the status quo. He symbolized a means of transforming the system that has dominated Kenya since independence, and has exploited, looted, plundered the resources, and subjugated the people. Now, when you come to 2022, that Raila Odinga has become something else. He has betrayed every single thing that he symbolized. The promise that Raila Odinga represented, change, transformation, is not now on the card. Raila Odinga is now saying he's going to follow the footsteps of Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the worst president since independence. A man who does not respect the Constitution, a man who has subverted the Constitution, violates human rights, defies court orders, tries to control the judiciary, and does not believe in democracy. A man who has now turned his own deputy, who is supposed to be a constitutional office holder, into a punching bag. Raila Odinga is now not an opposition candidate. And in fact, Raila Odinga currently is worse than, say, for example, some of those KANU orphans that lost elections after 2002. So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You cannot compare the Raila Odinga of today. And people are not stupid, Ken. Kenyans are not that stupid. Don't believe that Kenyans, that Raila Odinga is entitled to support. Nobody was born to support Raila Odinga. Nobody owes Raila Odinga anything. People only supported him because of what they saw as the promise that he represented. The moment he betrayed that with this handshake, and now the uniform, almost blind, kind of cowardly support for repression, has shown people that Raila Odinga is a cynical, selfish person that does not believe in the country and does not believe in systems of governance. He only believes in himself and his relatives and his acolytes. And this, the people will resist.
Okay. At the expense of a beating this point, what was the best option? Because Raila's chances has been dented majorly because of the handshake and now the path he has taken. What was the better option for Raila Odinga to ensure there's peace in this country, Miguna?
Okay, so So, for example, the question is unfortunate. I'll tell you why. What caused insecurity? What caused violence is the question you must ask. The rigging of the election, the stealing of the election by Uhuru Kenyatta is what caused the protest. The unleashing of the military and the police on the people is what caused resistance. So the violence was caused by Uhuru Kenyatta and his system of rigging. Now, how do you bring peace when someone like that deliberately subverts the constitution, violates the law, undermines democracy in order to impose himself in power? Is to remove him from power because he's the one who caused the problem. You don't surrender and join a criminal instead of bringing the criminal to account. What Raila has done is worse than any other betrayal before, because what he needed to do to bring peace is demand the bare minimum. Open up the servers of the IBC. Let's transform the Electoral Commission. Let's make sure that we have a free, fair, and credible election so that votes count.
Okay.
The people decide who their leaders are going to be. Then there will be no fight. Then there will be peace. But here, Raila Odinga pretends that he's trying to build an artificial peace when all those people Uhuru Kenyatta murdered, and he has murdered them successively since 2007. Remember, Uhuru Kenyatta went to The Hague and was accused of mass rape and mass murder together with Ruto, even though they technically got off. But the fact of the matter is that this is the mass murderer that has killed Raila supporters successively since 2007, that suddenly now he says he's a good man. And this mass murderer now is saying Raila is a good man. So what changed? Because the murderer was never convicted, was never tried, was never charged. The murderer has not apologized. The murderer has never been brought to account. The murdered people... No, let me just finish.
No, but that line would be unfortunate. Because...
No, but let me just say this.
Yes.
The Kenyans who died, the Kenyans who were murdered as a result of electoral violence or post-election violence, like Chris Msando, like Baby Pendo, like the rest of them,
yes,
have not found justice.
Yes.
Now the question you must ask yourself is this.
Yes.
Why is Raila quiet about them?
Okay.
Why is it that Raila is quiet and yet Miguna, who swore him in, was tortured, was sedated, was forced out of the country twice, 3 times, and denied re-entry? But Raila thinks everything is okay. No, we were not fighting. Let me finish.
Yes.
We were not fighting for freedom. We were not fighting for respect for human rights. We were not fighting for democracy because of Raila Odinga. We started this struggle before we knew who Raila Odinga was. So the point is, Raila Odinga cannot take it that all these generations, all these people that have been victim to this brutal regime were doing it so that he could become president.
Okay.
So that the ultimate prize is for Raila Odinga being president.
Okay.
Not the transformation of the system so that everybody can live in the country as equal citizens.
Okay. All right. I want to go to the numbers now. As I finish the topic about Raila and climbing the mountain. Miguna, you are much better politician than I am. Let's break down. Traditionally, Kenya has voted in only one way. Central Kenya has always voted in one basket. The Nyanza region has always been behind Raila Odinga. Western region equally. And also, if you look at the Rift Valley, the way they have voted, they've always voted in one basket. In fact, anytime 2 of these ethnic communities were in one ticket, they always won the election. So talk to me, break down the numbers for me. What would each of these candidates be relying on to propel them to be the 5th president of Kenya?
So let me first of all deconstruct what you are saying. When you say always, you mean since Kenya became Kenya. And I can tell you, you are wrong. At independence, there was nothing like Kikuyus voting together, Luos voting together, all these ethnicities voting together. People voted because of what the parties they were voting for represented. So for example, the people who voted for KANU, it was because of the philosophical, ideological position of KANU vis-a-vis the struggle for independence.
Okay.
People who voted for KADU did the same. After independence, the KANU split. Jomo Kenyatta engineered a split in KANU and kicked out Raila Odinga's father and his group that were more progressive. Again, that split was ideological. It was not ethnic. Then in KANU, after Moi made KANU a one-party state, there was no other party. There was no credible or fair and democratic election between 1979 when Moi took power to 2002. So there was nothing like people always voted this way or that way because there was no ethnic voting. Then in 2002, the Kikuyus did not vote for Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta was a Kikuyu. He was not a Kalenjin.
Yes.
But the Kalenjins voted for Uhuru Kenyatta in 2002 almost to a person because they were supporting Moi more than they were supporting Uhuru, but they voted for Uhuru.
Okay.
Luos voted for Mwai Kibaki. So Mwai Kibaki was a Kikuyu. He was not a Luo. So this myth that Kenyans always vote tribe is actually false. The coast people have been voting any which way. The people from Western have been voting any which way. The people from Eastern, the same. There has been no uniform voting. Kenyans have been voting for the agenda, the platform, and the message of the candidates.
Okay.
So I have to deconstruct the myth which the media is peddling that the Kikuyus, so-called Mount Kenya, must vote one way, the Luos must vote this way, the Kalenjins must vote. That ethnic chauvinistic attitude and look at politics, it's retrogressive.
Okay.
It's not a 21st century outlook of life. People don't live like that in Kenya.
Okay. Let's talk about the earthquake. I don't know if in your opinion there was an earthquake at all, but talk to me about the movement of Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, who traditionally supported Raila Odinga, except in 2013 when Musalia Mudavadi went it alone, but Moses Wetangula was there with Raila Odinga. Talk to me about the value they take to Kenya Kwanza campaign.
First of all, they have not always supported Raila Odinga traditionally, so that is wrong. 2002, Musalia Mudavadi supported Uhuru Kenyatta. He stuck with Uhuru Kenyatta. In 2007, Wetangula was with Kibaki. He was not with Raila. In 2013, Wetangula was not with Raila. He was with Uhuru Kenyatta, I believe. He only joined Raila in 2017. Mudavadi ran against Raila in 2013. So it's not always. We have to be accurate historically and factual when we are analyzing politics. Because what I have seen with a lot of commentators in Kenya is they elevate myth into facts and use the myth to analyze. You will get the wrong result. Okay. So let's get back now to Mudavadi and Wetangula. What significance? It is undeniable that Wetangula comes from Western Kenya, but particularly is a Bukusu, and he's been a Bukusu leader. In Western, in terms of demographics, the Bukusu are almost 65% of the population of Western Kenya.
Mm-hmm. They're the majority, yes.
So this is important because when you look at the Bukusu leaders that are supporting Kenya Kwanza, it's quite sizable. You have Baraza, you have Kalwale, you have Wetangula. So those are Bukusu leaders. Then I'm not sure about Malala. I don't know in terms of ethnicity where he falls, but it is possible that he's also a Bukusu. I don't know. But assuming he is, then you can see that the other people that are supporting Raila, like someone who has never held public office and does not have a lot of influence, but is very loud because he has money, called Atuoli. Atuoli has no support whatsoever. Atuoli is a trade unionist, but Atuoli is a Maragoli. A small community from where Mudavadi comes from. Mudavadi has held public office. Mudavadi leads a party. So one person may think fictionally that the lawyers that support Mudavadi are less than those that support Atuoli. Where is the science?
Okay.
Where are those figures? So the fact that they have all supported or are now supporting William Ruto has to be significant. It has to be significant because that is why they were considered significant when they were supporting Raila Odinga in 2017. If they were not significant, then Raila Odinga would not have quoted him or them to support him.
Okay.
And they would not have been considered NASA principles.
Okay.
Why were they NASA principles? Atuoli was not a NASA principle. Amos Wako was not a NASA principle. Kaniri was not a NASA principle. So if both NASA principles have now left Raila Odinga and somebody is saying they have left with no support, then that's just illogical.
Okay.
It is important for us to acknowledge the fact that yes, they have left with significant support. But for me, the analysis does not end there. The analysis has to go further. What is it that they represent now vis-a-vis Raila Odinga?
Okay.
They represent resistance to the status quo, to the system, to the state, to the government and regime that has reduced Kenyans into paupers. That is important.
All right. Malala and former Kakamega Senator are not Bukusus, so I think they are off that equation. And I'm just trying to confirm here, and I'm saying Moses Wetangula was part of CORD in 2013, Daktari.
All right, but now he's not.
Now he's not. So in 2013, when Musalia Mudavadi ran against Raila Odinga, he got 483,000 votes. Raila got more than 1.2 million votes at that time. And the only reason, the argument is, the only reason he got those votes is because a majority was behind him. The running mate came from Central Kenya. So perhaps there was belief that with Kioni being from Central Kenya, he had a chance. And now that he's not running for president, those chances are diminished and no one will smile his direction anymore.
No, actually, the analysis is wrong again. If you recall, in 2013, Musalia Mudavadi was a state project. The party he ran on was formed by Kibaki through his private secretary, Wanjohi. They formed the party at State House and wanted to use it as the vehicle to make Mudavadi a president. A project, the same thing Uhuru is doing. And they promoted it, they took it around the country, and they gave Mudavadi a running mate called Kioni, who I understand did not even vote for Musalia Mudavadi, but I don't know the facts. I just hear that he did not vote for Musalia Mudavadi.
Yeah, he said he voted.
Eventually, Uhuru Kenyatta resisted the state projects and ended up being president. Essentially exactly the same thing, exactly what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
That the moment a sitting president who is preparing to retire decides that they are going to have a project so that they can extend their tenure through that project, it fails.
Okay.
It has failed throughout history, not just in Kenya, all over the world.
Okay. So Raila Odinga on the other side has also quite a number of Luhya leaders. Look at Oparanya, for example. Look at DAPK now, and the number of leaders who have left Ford Kenya and ANC and joined DAPK. You must also look at the flip side and look at the amount of good these people could bring to his campaign also. The fact that 2 have left and so many others have joined, including Eugene Wamalwa, who arguably is also influential in Western Kenya. I mean, you can't just dismiss it as of no consequence to Raila.
Actually, Ken, I do politics for a living. I've done it for a long time. I've always been a political analyst since university. I understand Kenyan politics very well, and I understand history very well. So let's start with Wamalwa. You are more popular than Eugene Wamalwa. Eugene Wamalwa is nothing politically. Eugene Wamalwa is just made up, given a suit, and told to walk this way or that way. Otherwise, the man is useless. The man does not represent anything. And the man has no philosophy, has no ideology, has no direction. He has absolutely no support from Western Kenya. So let's go to Oparanya. Oparanya is retiring after being governor twice. So the people from Kakamega know that their future does not lie in Oparanya, somebody who is retiring and probably looking for protectors after he leaves power. He comes with nothing and really doesn't care which way the political axe falls, because all he's looking for is protection.
Okay.
The people around Raila, so you call DAP Kenya. What is that? It is a concoction that was made up by Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga to split Western Kenya. The same thing Moi was doing, to split people so that he can deny, say, for example, a front runner a win or victory in the first run, so that they can steal elections if there is a runoff. That is what they're trying to do, my friend. These are acts of desperation. We've seen them throughout history. Kenyatta did it, Moi did it, or Kibaki did it. Did it result into anything? Remember what Kibaki did even during the referendum of 2005. How Kenyatta played around with Ngilu. Kibaki played around with Ngilu, with Nyachae, with Kombo. And where did it end? He still lost. So don't look at these small little parties that have been constructed from State House and are being funded by taxpayers' money as being politically significant. They are not significant.
Yeah.
And if you want to know they are not significant, why is it that Uhuru cannot call a public rally in Mount Kenya and campaign for Raila Odinga? Why is he doing it illegally from a public facility called a state lodge in Sagana? Remember, this is a public facility. He goes there, uses public resources to have a partisan meeting, which is unconstitutional, and then speaks in his mother tongue. He forgets that as president, you are not president of Kikuyus. You are president of Kenya. And you cannot turn a state facility like a state house or state lodge into your tribal den where you speak your mother tongue. When Uhuru speaks, all Kenyans should be able to know what he's saying.
Okay.
But he does not know that. So he goes there and have a partisan faction or function instead of calling a rally, say, for example, in a public square in Muranga, because he knows he has no support.
Okay. But we agree, Daktari, that Mount Kenya is not only about the Kikuyus. We also have the Merus and the Embus and the rest. But let's maintain on
Ghana is in Nyeri, which is in Kikuyu. Yeah. And in fact, all this noise that have been made purportedly at the behest of the Kikuyu nation.
Yes.
That is what the noise has been about.
Majority.
And Raila has made hay out of it, that he's climbing Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
It does not mean that he's climbing Meru. He means that he's getting the Kikuyu support, which he has nothing of.
Okay. So away from the Luhya politics and that equation, the other argument right now in the country is the value that a Kalonzo vote holds for either party. In fact, they say that if Kalonzo moved to William Ruto, the deputy president side, then it's as good as done. William Ruto has won this election if he joins them. If he moves to Raila, then he complicates a little bit the equation for William Ruto.
How is that when Kalonzo was supporting Raila in 2013 and 2017, and Raila did not become president? And not only that, it was not just Kalonzo. It was Kalonzo, Wetangula, and Mudavadi. Did he become president? So those who are saying that are I don't know whether it is called a dream or a nightmare. So Kalonzo will not make any difference. You see, unfortunately for these people, Kalonzo is like Raila, a coward. See, at least Raila is a coward pretending to be brave. So historically, people thought he was brave until 2017, 2018 is when he exposed himself. When he threw me at the lion's den and then ran away to the lion. You see, that's when people knew this man is a total coward. Will never take anybody to so-called Canaan.
Okay.
So whether he's with Kalonzo or he's with Ondeto, he will not be president of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
Because he has no courage. You cannot get power without courage. And Raila Odinga needed to learn that long time ago. Unfortunately, it is too late.
For him to learn. The other thing you'll accuse the media of is touting this as a two-horse race. A week ago, or a fortnight ago, I sat with Jimmy Wanjigi, and his view is that this is a one-horse race and we need a second force, because he says the ticket of Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga is one and the same, and of course, because Uhuru Kenyatta was with William Ruto, it's the same ticket. So it's just split, but it's the same people. So we need a third force. From where you sit, do we have a two-horse race? Has it been defined? Or there could be a Kenyan somewhere, Daktari, who could sneak through and get this?
I don't like the word two-horse or whatever, unless, so let's talk about what Jimmy Wanjigi was saying. If I understood him, and maybe I didn't, he meant that these people are not materially different. He meant that ideologically, Uhuru and Ruto are one and the same. And now that Raila has joined them, it's like it's one party. Ideologically, philosophically, it's the same thing. It's almost like saying Kibaki was KANU B, Moi was KANU A, so when Kibaki became president, it was still KANU. That is the way I am understanding Wanjigi. To that extent, he's right, that it would not matter materially to Kenyans, ideologically, philosophically, whether it is Project Uhuru or Project Ruto, because ideologically they are the same.
Okay.
These are conservative, retrogressive politicians. That's not my politics. But practically, we do have different candidates. Practically, not philosophically, not ideologically. Ideologically, they are the same.
Yes.
But in terms of being individuals who are different, Raila is not Ruto, and they are not Kigame, and they are not Wajakoya, and they are not any other person running. So which means we have different individuals who say they want to run for president. To that extent, if there were horses, because I don't want to reduce, say, for example, Kigame to be a non-human being. He's a human being, just like Ruto, just like Raila Odinga. So if Raila Odinga is a horse, Kigame is also a horse.
Yes.
He may not be a horse that runs as faster, but he's a horse. He's a human being. He's a candidate. And so is Ruto, so is Raila. So there are many horses that are going to run this race. But as of now, to be very honest with you, Ruto has nearly 70% of the people. That's the reality, even if I don't like it. You know, sometimes people have to be realistic. I may not like Ruto. I may think that he does not represent the best for Kenya. The same way I don't think Raila does not represent the best for Kenya. But the reality is that as we speak today, on February 23rd, 2022, Ruto has nearly 70% of the Kenyan voters. And if elections were called today, he would win this in one run, and Raila would not even get 40%.
Okay, so I'll talk about the Deputy President William Ruto and how he is likely to win the election or not. But talk to me, because we mentioned Jimmy Wanjigi somewhere. What is the deal with Jimmy? Do you believe he wants to run to the end, or he is preparing the ground because he's really serious? And look at what's happening in the ODM party. The fact that they're even locking him out of the NDC. They're saying only Azimio will have a candidate, ODM will not have a candidate. So in your analogy, what's his calculation? What is he trying to achieve with this?
Okay, so it's many questions, but I'll answer it the best way I can. Number one, Jimmy Wanjigi is a Kenyan. Jimmy Wanjigi is a human being. Jimmy Wanjigi has a right to dream and to have ambition and to want to become anything he wants. And to that extent, nobody should be trying to prevent him from trying to realize his dream and his ambition. Jimmy Wanjigi chose to be in ODM. Jimmy Wanjigi supported ODM and Raila Odinga to the tune of millions, according to their own confession in the 2017 election. Jimmy Wanjigi says he's a life member of ODM. Jimmy Wanjigi was a delegate to the ODM NDC. Jimmy Wanjigi declared that he wanted to be ODM's presidential candidate. All legal, legitimate exercises that any human being should be allowed to pursue. Now, in between, they have decided that not only do they not want to make sure that ODM has a legitimate, credible primaries for the presidential seat, they want to lock Jimmy Wanjigi out of the entire exercise. And that is undemocratic. That is very, very wrong. If Raila Odinga can do this to Jimmy Wanjigi, who funded him to the tune of millions, if Raila Odinga could betray me, the only person who stuck out his neck to protect his victory in 2017, if Raila Odinga abandoned Ruto when he was taken to the Hague, and Raila Odinga now is calling Mudavadi, who has supported him twice or three times, but actually 3 times for the presidency, a backing dog, the same way he called me a backing dog. This is not a man to be trusted with power. And I think that is the message Jimmy Wanjigi is passing.
Okay.
Jimmy Wanjigi wants to make a statement. He's saying, this man is dishonest, this man is deceptive, this man is undemocratic, and there is no way I am going to allow him to push me around because I'm a Kenyan like him. And he's right.
And a life member of the ODM party. Now, let me go back to the conversation about the election now, apart from what we're talking about Jimmy Wanjigi and running, because I would really have loved to see your ideas of what exactly is Musalia Mudavadi's game plan in this, because we know Deputy President William Ruto was running amok in Western Kenya. He was garnering those votes. He was doing the same thing he did in Central Kenya. But the deputy...
But you're saying he's running amok. You know, running amok is not a positive word.
That's how it's been put, because he was let free to run in Western Kenya and get the votes, and he succeeded somehow. So there was a game, perhaps there's a game between Musalia Mudavadi and William Ruto. I would have really loved to see that. But let me talk about the next election. So we have 2 candidates, reality that you're speaking about today, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who you give about 70%, although you don't like him. I mean, why would Kenyans vote for William Ruto right now, with all those things that have been said, not vote any other candidate apart from Raila Odinga? I mean, don't we have options as a country, or he is a lesser evil even in your eyes?
So let me tell you why. Number one, Uhuru Kenyatta is president, right?
Yes.
The most unqualified man ever to actually occupy State House in any country in the world.
But he became president.
No, but I'm going to tell you why. If anybody could make Uhuru Kenyatta president, there's no reason why anybody says Ruto cannot become president.
Okay.
Number one, Ruto has passed all his exams from nursery to university. Uhuru failed all of them. Uhuru has never run anything from the time he was born. Every business the family gave him to run, he bankrupted. That is how come his brother, Muhoho, is the one who is running the family businesses. So throughout, up to Moi propped him from nothing. Uhuru Kenyatta was just a drunkard. I mean, this is a fact. Then they made him a nominated member of parliament, then appointed him a cabinet minister, then imposed him on KANU, and then tried to make him president in 2002.
All right.
A failed throughout his life. Now, let me just go.
Yes.
I want to make it very clear.
Yeah, I just wanted to discount. I just want.
No.
You will, Miguna. I just wanted to discount.
See, now you are interrupting me. You see, this is what I didn't want.
No. I'm not interrupting you. You will speak. I've given you time to speak. I just wanted to discount from where I sit and from KTN. That is not something that we factually know. So it's completely your view of the president and how he ran the family business, and of course how he is. So just continue, but talk to me, because you're explaining to me how deputy president is going to win the election. Listen,
these are facts.
Yeah.
And if I was with you, I could table them. But so I'm trying to set to you the foundation. So I'm saying a complete failure who has never run anything successful. Not his life, not business, not in the academia, not a profession. Then he's made president. Remember, he's made president when he's facing charges of mass murder, mass rape, and mass displacement of civilians.
Yes.
These were the charges at The Hague.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
He's made president with these charges. Ruto is not facing these charges now. He was facing them with Uhuru, but they were made president and deputy president.
Okay.
Uhuru Kenyatta's name is in the Pandora's box as having stashed more than 1.5 trillion Kenya shillings in offshore accounts. He promised more than 6 months ago that he would come and he would tell the country what this money is all about. Uhuru Kenyatta has not done that.
Okay.
Uhuru Kenyatta has presided over KEMSA looting, NYS looting, SGR looting, Kenya Power looting, the land grab that the Kenyatta family has been involved in. And don't tell me these are not factual. These are very factual. When Kenyatta came out of jail in 1962-63, he had no land, he did not have even a vehicle. The first vehicle Jomo Kenyatta had was bought for him by Tom Mboya.
Okay.
By the time he died 15 years later, the Kenyatta family had most land in Kenya. And the land they have is bigger than the size of Nyanza.
Okay.
This is the man. No, I want to put it very, very clear, because he was pontificating in Sagana. This is the man now telling us about corruption, when throughout his life, everything he has is courtesy of corruption. He's not worked for 1 shilling.
Miguna, we can't confirm that. We can't confirm that. And this question was related to the deputy president.
My friend Uhuru is president. So when I talk about somebody who occupies State House...
And talk to me exactly how you see the deputy president making it. That's my interest.
I'm coming there. Don't feel... They're not going to fire you because I'm talking.
I'm not scared of being fired. I'm just telling you. We have about 9 minutes on the clock. And if we go that...
No, let me speak.
Summarize it and talk to us about the deputy president.
No. Yes. I want to tell you this, because this is coming in the heels of Uhuru Kenyatta giving people lectures about corruption. When Uhuru Kenyatta talks about Aror and Kamwarer, who was the president who signed those deals and said this money should be spent? Him. Has he resigned? No. Who gave us Ruto? Who brought Ruto from wherever he was to being deputy president? Who nominated him as a running mate? It's Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Who campaigned with Ruto in 2013 and 2017 twice? Uhuru Kenyatta, who appointed all these cabinet ministers and cabinet secretaries that presided over the so-called corruption. Uhuru Kenyatta. Has Uhuru Kenyatta, who has been president for 10 years, recommended that they be charged in court? No. Has Uhuru Kenyatta fired anybody for corruption? Only Charity Ngilu, who is now campaigning with the same Uhuru Kenyatta to support Raila Odinga. So in other words, I'm trying to tell you, William Ruto is 1,000% better than Uhuru Kenyatta. He's smarter. He came from nothing. He's worked for everything he has. He's campaigning like crazy. And there is no reason whatsoever why someone can say that Jomo Kenyatta was qualified to be president, despite everything Jomo Kenyatta did. Moi was qualified to become president, despite the fact that Moi was standard 4 dropout, but came from nothing and worked throughout his life too, and then tortured Kenyans, but was president. Despite what Kibaki did, remember Kibaki once told us that we could not defeat Kanu because Kanu was a Mugumo tree that we could not cut with a razor blade, and was described as Kegoya, a man who had never seen a fence he did not want to sit on. So he became president. But now they are telling us that Ruto, whom they have not charged, whom they brought to the fore, whom they have been working with, who has worked throughout of his life to be what he is not qualified to be president. That is taking us for fools.
So from where you sit, and I wanted to ask a direct question that I attempted to ask last time, Miguna, having been in politics and practiced politics in the country, who is, if you were and you have a right to vote as Kenyan, would you vote for the deputy president?
No, that's not a fair question to me. Number one, voting is a right every Kenyan has.
Exactly, yes.
And voting is secret. You don't tell somebody whom you voted for. You don't have to. In fact, it is illegal for somebody to violate that right and disclose who your vote is. So number one, I have only one vote. I have only one vote. So whoever I vote for, that one vote cannot make anybody president.
Yes.
It is the accumulation of votes that will make anybody president. But what I want to demystify is this. This idea that Raila is good, Ruto is bad, that is false, fundamentally false through and through. There is nothing Ruto has done that Raila has not done. Raila is a thief. The same way Ruto is a thief. And I can prove it because I was his advisor and I saw him stealing.
So the case against the president was terminated. The Kenyatta case was terminated, but he has not been acquitted from the court at The Hague. I want to talk briefly, before I talk about if you will be running for any office this time round, I want to talk about the ongoing trial of lawyer Paul Gisheru. Do you think this will have an impact to the Deputy President William Ruto? Because this trial is really about interference of witnesses in his case and that of Joshua Rapsang. Do you think the outcome of this case will affect the running of Deputy President William Ruto?
I think people are suffering from amnesia. If you recall 2013, the Hague trial helped Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto become president. So as far as Kenya's history goes, Hague is a good thing for a presidential candidate. It's never been a negative thing because Hague is a foreign court trying a Kenyan. They get sympathy out of that trial. So if you're going to hang Ruto on Hague, you better give it up. Because the same way Hague was not used against Uhuru Kenyatta, the same way Hague cannot be used against Ruto. But even going further, who killed all the Bungiki people? It was Uhuru Kenyatta.
We cannot confirm that. Daktari,
how many witnesses? How many witnesses?
But what we know, I'll talk about what I know, Daktari. Daktari, I'll talk about what I know, and you're a lawyer. What I know is that The Hague terminated the Kenyatta case, but did not acquit him. That is a fact that we all know. All those things will have come out in the Hague trial. We didn't have a complete trial, and that is an area I don't want to venture right now. Yes. If we are going to go that direction...
I was involved in the Hague proceedings, if you know. I was an expert witness at the Hague. So I am talking from a position of authority that you cannot impugn.
I know, but the court, we will go with what the court says.
What I'm trying to tell you is this. What I'm trying to tell you is that it is unfortunate that the Kenyan media are trying to gloss over something so fundamental. Thousands of Kenyans were killed, not just by William Ruto, but by Uhuru Kenyatta. It's a fact.
Okay.
So let us not play around with this. These are Kenyans' lives.
All right. We'll have an opportunity because it's a big thing. There is a trial going on. Let's see what comes out of that trial and then come back to discuss this. So I see we have a few minutes on the clock and I can't let you go, Miguna, without asking you about your ambitions. You ran as an independent candidate. You captured the hearts of many Nairobian voters who voted for you last time. I know you've been forced away, and I'll ask you also a question about the former CJ Willie Mutunga. I saw you tweet about it. But are you running for office this time around, even though you're in the diaspora?
I intend to run for Nairobi gubernatorial seat.
Okay.
So I may run. I'm thinking seriously of running for that seat. I will be running on a party yet to be declared. But so that's where it is. So wait for the announcement. If I change my mind, I'll let you know that.
Okay, so you still have your ambitions for office alive.
I'm a registered voter and I can run for office.
Okay, you can run for office and you intend to run for office of governor. Tell me something. The tweet about the CJ Emeritus, Willie Mutunga, he didn't come through for you, Miguna?
Well, you know, you are with Willie in Nairobi, and I saw him at your station the other day.
Yes, on Kivumbi, yes.
I'm still waiting for him. Did you hear when he's supposed to be coming? I'm waiting for him. The bags are packed. He said that he was going to accompany me. The last time, these people refused to allow me to travel to Nairobi, and the case is in court for contempt.
Yes.
Of Rachel Mamo, the Minister for Foreign Affairs. That case is reconvening on February 28th. Meanwhile, it is important that people like Willie speak and do what they say.
Yes.
It is very important when somebody is a former Chief Justice, is a senior citizen, is a senior advocate, is a human rights activist, that you don't say things if you don't mean them.
Okay.
And I'm one person who will not coddle this. Willie Mutunga failed me, and he must be called out for it.
For failing you. Okay, the BBI ruling is coming. Miguna, I'm just rushing through this, the last few minutes we have. I promised to ask you about Article 103 of the Constitution, especially 1E, because this is very important heading into the election. What is your view about members of parliament who are still holding their positions in the parties that sponsored them to parliament, yet they intend to run for office in the other parties? What happens to them? Because for them to run, even participate in the nominations, perhaps they need to resign. And if they resign, it means there could be by-elections, but we have less than 6 months to the election. So what happens to these members of parliament, Miguna, who need to run on other parties but are still in the parties and they can't resign for obvious reasons? We have 6 months and they will resign, lose their positions, lose their salary, and we know they need them. So interpret for me the Article 103 of the Constitution.
I think 103 says that the office of a member of parliament becomes vacant if having been elected to parliament as a member of a political party, the member resigns from that party or is deemed to have resigned from the party as determined in accordance with the legislation contemplated in Clause 2. And that legislation, and then at 2, as an independent candidate, the member joins a political party. Now, the legislation contemplated there is the Political Parties Act.
Yes.
And the section that is relevant is section 14, which says a member of a political party who intends to resign from the political party shall give a written notice prior to his resignation to the political party, to the clerk of the relevant house of parliament, if the member is a member of parliament, or the clerk of a county assembly, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says the resignation of the member of the political party shall take effect upon receipt of such notice. So we know they have not resigned, right?
Yes.
Now, for them to be deemed to have resigned, two things can happen. Number one, somebody can take them to the political party's tribunal, or somebody can take them to the High Court. Nobody has taken them to the High Court, and we know they have not resigned. So that question will be answered by the IEBC.
Okay.
And because I don't work for the IEBC, I cannot answer it.
Okay. But as a lawyer, can they run for office in a different political party without resigning from these parties that that sponsor them to parliament?
If they are not declared to have, if they are not deemed to have resigned, meaning that a tribunal of competent jurisdiction does not find that they have resigned and they did not tender their resignation, yes, they will be allowed to run. Because how else would you stop them?
How do they participate in the nomination, for example, of another political party? I'll give you a practical example of most UDA members of parliament who want to run on UDA. They are still members of the Jubilee Party until the end of the term. How then do they participate in the nominations that are forthcoming if they are not members of UDA as at this time, noting that the amended laws require that even the membership of those parties be registered with the register of political parties, because they are the only people who will participate in the nomination. So how do they participate in those nominations at the end of the day?
So number one, how does Uhuru participate in ODM and is in Jubilee? How does Raila participate in Jubilee and is in ODM? I mean, that's the same question. It's not just members of parliament. It's all of them.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, so we can't just pick on them. And then number two, I don't think the deadline is here yet. And number three, who told you they have not resigned? Just because you don't know does not mean it has not happened. I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody could easily access their citizen account and resign from one party and join the other one without you knowing.
Without telling us. Okay. That's and once they resign, you know, I think they lose their seats. Daktari, I'd like to give you a minute. There's the BBI case that is coming up. Do you think the Supreme Court will do what the Court of Appeal did not do and what the High Court, and affirmed what the High Court did? Do you think it will happen?
If the Supreme Court is operating within the confines of law and are going to base their decision only on legal principles and not on sideshows, they will validate, they will affirm the decision of the Court of Appeal. All
right. Thank you, Daktari, so much for coming tonight. It's been a pleasure hosting you again, unless you have something supplementary. But I want to wish you the best as your case comes back again in court for, I think, the 17th time, and wish you all the best. We've really gone the slippery slope, and some of the terms and sentiments that have been expressed by Daktari there are not our view as KTN News and Standard Group, but he reserves the right to make his comments as a Kenyan. Thank you so much, MIGUNA down in Toronto, Canada, for coming on board tonight for News Hour. And everybody else who's made the show a success tonight. Thank you for watching Maresha Witi earlier with us. That's Brenda, Seda, and I on News Hour. We do this again next week, same place, same time. Remember, it's election time, and the day we stop speaking to each other, as I always say, is the day we begin fighting. At the end of the day, as the Deputy President says, the election will be decided by you, the voter. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ken Mijungu. On behalf of the whole team, once again, have a good night. God bless.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Happy anniversary.
Mbona hii mabati kina dad na mam bado inakaa mpya? Na hii nyumba imekuwa hapa for so many years. Na pia umelelewa hapa.
Wow, imagine hata nilikuwa sija notice.
Rufus,
Wewe ni fundi wangu wa miaka mingi sana. Haya mabati yatadumu kweli?
Huyu kijana